Few minutes to walk you through some examples of some good and bad types of social media posts. Your Forbes article in your module, part of your case study this week will be to make a video just like this. And so I wanted to kind of lead by example and also use this as an opportunity to show you some real examples of things that are done well and things that were not done well. So one of the things that was cited was accurate information. And so this was a kind of a salty spot for me when I was working at the city because I had been sort of cut out of some conversations, let's just put it that way. And it was a very political situation. And I was still expected to communicate what was happening within the city to the community without having all the information. And so I will say to any of you, if you were ever charged with communicating information to the public or to anybody for that matter, and you're not getting all the facts, to make sure that you do that because it can kind of backfire on you. And so what happened for me was this wonderful police officer had actually saved a guy's life. I mean, completely healed him, like helped with first aid situation. It says here he applied first aid to the patient who had a life-threatening wound. When they got to the ER, the guy said if this man hadn't done what he did in this like very quick action first aid activity, he would have died. And so we wanted to celebrate that. It was a really cool thing. And then I get a phone call from one of the police officers and he said, hey, the way you wrote that, it said something about like he put a tourniquet on his leg, which is like a really simple procedure. And this guy was like, went above and beyond just putting a tourniquet on his leg. And so he's like, I just feel like, if Miles read this, his name is Miles, this guy, he would feel like, man, I did more than that. Like, that's not exactly right. Well, that was the little blur of information that I had. And so I literally got like one or two sentences about this situation. And I used that to create this long post because that was kind of in keeping with everything that we did. All of our social media posts are pretty lengthy and tell a story and they're involved and they're human. And so I went in real quickly, changed it. It was no big deal, but it was frustrating for me because I didn't have accurate information. And so that's one of the points that the article talks about is having accurate information. And I think that that's just like public relations 101. Even admit when you've done wrong. Me having this conversation with you right now is me admitting, hey, you know what? I didn't do a knockout job. I made a mistake. And here's how I fixed it. Because anytime we study any sort of PR blunder or social media, if somebody stubs their toe on social media and has some sort of backlash from the public, it's easiest to first admit that you did something wrong and go in to fix it instead of trying to cover it up. You know how they say the cover up is worse than the crime? And so that applies here. So let's look at a few good examples because that's just way more fun. This article talks about engaging and not ignoring comments. And that was something that I preached a lot and took a lot of time in when I worked at the city. If y'all remember, some of you maybe have been in school when this happened, but I wanted to use some humor because TxDOT had been working on Austin Street forever. Rain had delayed it. There were issues with construction materials getting here. It was a state highway, a state road, and so everybody kind of thought the city was in charge of it, but it wasn't really our project. And so there was a lot, and when it was closed for a very, very long time. And so we kind of wanted to say, hey, we think it's going to be open probably tomorrow, but don't tell. But I wanted to do it in a really fun way because this was like something that everybody was kind of tired of talking about and asking about. And so I said, we can't leave it as back to school gift. As a back to school gift, we have received official update from TxDOT. Austin Street should be open on Monday, maybe even tomorrow, but don't tell. So we kind of used humor to offset the fact that people were frustrated because what else are you going to do? But that helped with our engagement. People realized, hey, there's like a real life, living, breathing human being behind this city of Nacogdoches and behind all this horrible construction that's taking place, and let's talk about it. And so this gal says, will we be able to access Reggae from Austin off University Drive? And I said, yes, girl, with this little gif because it's ridiculous. Lauren Pate says, Austin and Reggae, and I said, thumbs up, yep, with another little gif because it was just ridiculous. At that point, it was just so ridiculous, and it was fun to engage in these comments because once again, it kind of reiterated, hey, we get it. This is exciting. This is cool. This is fun. And part of our brand was that we were human too. We're not just the big bad government. And so doing this really helped us engage and have a meaningful, quote unquote, meaningful conversation. Instead of just ignoring these comments, we responded because People asked the question for a reason. You can see it also generated some engagement. We had between laughs and thumbs up and loves, we had 8 people there. So it tended to work. One of the things that they discuss is hiding behind your brand. So one of the things I liked to do, this was a part of a bigger campaign about NAC Responds, how we were always responding to, fires and car accidents and crimes and things that had to happen. And this was in 2019, but we had, like I call them my cast of characters. We had lots of city employees. You've probably seen pictures similar to this on the side of trash trucks if you live in Nacogdoches, on billboards in Nacogdoches a few years ago. But we like to show the people. We like to hear a quote. Why does Ashley Harris want to be a police officer? Well, her father was a police officer. She never wanted to be anything but a police officer. She loves this community. She talked all about that. We interviewed her and we discussed it, and we took a beautiful picture of her to show, like, look, I love my job. I have a great job. We even wrote a blog about it. So instead of hiding behind, ooh, construction updates, ooh, water line breaks, oh, your electric bill or your water bill is due, we want to talk about the people, the faces, the friendly people that work at the city, because that's what makes us human. And you can see, Dolly loves this woman. She's amazing. Megan, thank you for your service. Natasha Sandel, she is one of my favorite people, and she really is an awesome person. So it made my job super easy. But this was a really great example of us being personable and not hiding behind our brand. And finally, just having a little bit of personality. We wrote on here, we had a event where we had like people come in and have a public discussion about food trucks. And so this was my intern at the time. If you know her, she's hysterical. But we said part of our intern training program is buying snacks for public meetings. Today's lesson, food truck public meeting needs snacks. Doritos may not be a great fit. We do have other tasty treats, so come tell us your thoughts and have a grape or two. So the joke was, she sent me a text, are you happy with these choices? No Doritos. That's so funny. Ha ha ha. That's what I think when I think party. So look, we're real life living, breathing humans. It's funny. There's a message here. Come to our public meeting and we're going to have some grapes, but you probably won't have any Doritos. But then she wrote, I'm the intern in these texts. Boss lady Amy hooked me up with these Doritos for this hearing. So I guess I ended up buying her Doritos. I don't remember. But the goal here was sharing this was to show, don't forget, come to the meeting. Look, we have cookies. And it was just supposed to be funny and add some personality to our brand. So I hope you learned a little bit, saw some examples, and now you will be charged with going out and finding examples of your own. So they can be good, bad, or ugly. I just want you to be able to look at that Forbes article and unpack some of the tips that you see there and apply them to some real examples like I've done here. So good luck.